Do we need a toll road in North Raleigh on Capitol Boulevard? That's what I want to talk about today because the city of Raleigh and Wake County are proposing to have a toll road on Capitol Boulevard. And on the surface, this thing looks sort of benign. It would be an express lane. Not everyone would be required to drive it. And, there wouldn't be a toll booth, but you would drive through and, have the automated process, you know, charge you the tolls. Here's why I'm against this. I think it really sets a bad precedent. And by that, what I'm saying is that putting toll roads in the city, of course, I'm against toll roads anyway. In North Carolina, for somehow we've, through time been able to build a great highway system and avoid having toll roads. Why now do we need them? Well, Whitney, population's increasing and we need to do that. Well, no, we don't. We have an increasing tax base here in North Carolina, in Raleigh, in the Triangle area. We've got people moving in here, new taxpayers coming in, and we've also been raising taxes. And so we ought to be able to increase our road system to be able to meet the demand of the public with an increasing population, but it's an increasing tax base at the same time. To me, this is just an example of how when you get into bigger and bigger government or participation in this case, that it just becomes a blank check. And once we make the move of allowing toll roads into what amounts to city streets, to me, that's a very, very dangerous place to go. We already have a gas tax in North Carolina, and I think that's probably, as far as getting to the people who actually drive, a good tax. I know there's problems there with electric cars on being able to tax those. But here we are trying to encourage people to go to electric cars, and they're already trying to figure out a way to tax those guys when they're trying to do the right thing. But maybe they do need to pay some taxes if the other folks are. But why do we need to start getting into a toll road situation on city streets in Raleigh? Now, it's not going to happen. The North Carolina legislature is stepping in and stopping it, fortunately. And there are funds, some of the funds to pay for this, but we need to really get into understanding why it is that we can't just figure out a way to finance this project. I'm sure there's some federal funds we can get. I am for us putting in another lane, an express lane, or, maybe we have, I guess it could be a overhead lane that bypasses the traffic lights. But one of the things I might suggest in the short run is, why don't we do something to get the lights timed down there? I mean, I can drive through downtown Raleigh from one end to the other and usually have to stop at just one traffic light unless, there's a whole lot of traffic in there and you can't take advantage of the timed lights. Why can't we do that with Capitol Boulevard? Well, the traffic's too stacked up and all that. Is it? I mean, I drive through there a lot of times late at night, and I usually probably have to hit 50% or more of the traffic lights. And most of those roads are side streets coming in. I would wager that those lights are not timed at all or not properly timed. So I would like to see some things that should have been done anyway, as far as looking at the timing of the lights to see if there can be adjustments made to make things better. All in all, though, it is a problem. Years ago, lived out in that area. And I remember I had to drive into, at that time, there wasn't an outer belt line into the inner loop, and drive into work out at the park. And I had to get into that, and it was just terrible. I mean, it was stacked up. So I understand now. I'm sure it's not any better, probably gotten worse than when I lived out there. But we need to look at how we can finance these things and work this into the budget. And maybe we have to pay for a bond and work it like that without raising our taxes. I would tell you this: the reason we're not able to keep up, in my belief, is that we're spending more and more local tax money on special projects and things that really don't add a value to the regular Raleigh citizen, special interest things, and we're just not managing our financial state here in Raleigh well. There are other challenges too that we got to look up, making up for certain things. I will tell you too that we've got a number of universities in Raleigh that get a free ride. And of course, our state government gets a free ride downtown. And we need to look at ways of taking vacant property from those entities. And I think we're starting to do that and making that into land that pays taxes, essentially. So those are just my thoughts on this. I'm Whitney for Raleigh, and these are just my viewpoint on these issues. It's something I think's worthy of keeping up, and I appreciate hearing your comments. And if you could support this channel by liking this video or subscribing. Okay, thank you.